Hey guys, Folkvanger here with another custom Fire Emblem Heroes banner video. Today, we're going to discuss my idea for what the characters from Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE would be like if they were in Fire Emblem Heroes. There are quite a few units to discuss today, 8 in total, so I decided to ask for a bit of help on this one. Joining me today is my good friend Melledoneus. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, glad to be here. I hope you don't mind me eating all of your mints.
So that's where they all went. Anyway, glad you could be here. Oh, before we start, a quick warning to you guys watching, this video will have spoilers for Tokyo Mirage Sessions, so if you ever plan on playing it and don't want to be spoiled, it's probably best if you hold off on this video for now. But without further ado, let's get straight into the first character, Itsuki Aoi.
Alright, let's hit it off with our favorite third musketeer boy coming straight out of the French Revolution Reenactment Festival, Itsuki. This pretty boy in golden lapels joins you from the very beginning of the game, and seems like your typical falchion-wielding sword lord, especially since he is the incredibly unique and rarely explored unit type of sword infantry. But don't let this fancily dressed anime protag give you the wrong idea. He's a bit more than just a Marth clone. An infantry unit with a decent 167 BST, at first glance this guy looked pretty, well, scrawny. But sporting a hefty 45 HP and 34 defense, we're starting to delve into the big boy weight class here. Min-maxing his speed at a decent but safely disposable 27 in favor of a respectable 38 base attack, Itsuki looks like a pretty sturdy unit, even at a low but redeemable 23 reds. Needless to say, this guy will enjoy the quick riposte seal quite a bit. Not much of a deviation from Kromm so far, so let's look at his weapon. Mirage Falchion is a dragon killer, of course, but with a twist. Heavy blade. Of course, if your attack is greater than your opponent's, you're gonna yeet all over them even sooner with your Ether Special. It's his trademark focus blade, adapted into Heroes. Yeah, it was too easy. Also, we're gonna be using Awakening's most spoken word for a special effect. Bonds. That's right, if Itsuki is near OG Kromm and their ally supported, they both get +4 to all stats during combat. Also, the range on this is infinite, despite the fact that Kromm looks like a close-range power Mirage. So don't worry about keeping them together harder than those two characters you're shipping during a level that should have finished 15 turns ago. Yeah, Arden, I'm trying to make you happy. This is kinda obvious, but the bond skill effect stems from the fact that Kromm is Itsuki's stand Mirage, so having that link would recreate that awesome bond they had in Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Too bad we can't get Dark Kromm as an alt, unless IS acknowledges that Fire Emblem Heroes likes impromptu opera. Ask him if he wants chocolate or vanilla, Itsuki will answer with ether! Let's move on. His A skill is attack defense bond. Why? Because our bonds give him strength. Goodness knows, Kromm is jealous Itsuki comes with this skill. Itsuki's B skill is no follow-up. This makes sense, as he has a ton of armor killing capabilities in TMS, and him having a skill that negates fighter skills is way better than giving him an armor slowing effect. Also, if you get him and you didn't want to build him, he makes great fodder. His C skill is where he really shines. Odd Spectrum Wave is legendary Tikis with everyone on Odd Turn Crack, except this one is inheritable and evolves from any Odd Wave 3 skill. With a massive +5 to every stat on odd turns, Itsuki doesn't even need an ally next to him to proc this. It's odd, but even I can't count it out. Overall, this boy is Kromm if the pies Sumiya made Kromm had steroids and hero crests in them. He's a great overall sword lord whose jack-of-all-trades playstyle reflects his rounded reliability and TMS, and adapted to deal with troublesome foes that would dare threaten him and his allies. And, I will not lie, he sings way better than I ever could, so he has my respect.
Next up, we have Tsubasa Odaiba. Tsubasa is the second character added to your party in Tokyo Mirage Sessions. A very perky and clumsy character, Tsubasa is Itsuki's childhood friend and an aspiring young idol. Her Mirage is Shida, and her weapon of choice is the lance. Tsubasa is also my personal favourite member of Itsuki's team, mostly because she's the most fleshed out character as she's with you from the start. In Fire Emblem Heroes, Tsubasa will be a lance infantry unit with the base stats of 31, 32, 36, 21, 34, giving her 154 BST. Much like Itsuki and the rest of the characters, Tsubasa's stat line was loosely based on the stats that Shida has in FE. However, Tsubasa's low BST, despite being a Gen 3 infantry unit, comes from her role as a songstress, and one of only 2 songstresses on the whole banner concept. All the characters in Tokyo Mirage Sessions can sing and dance, but I thought it would be boring to just have 8 refreshers, so I only allowed myself to have 2, Tsubasa being one of them. Despite being a songstress, Tsubasa has some very powerful skills that allow her to spread her wings in combat. Her weapon, the Mirage Wing Spear, borrows a lot of its effects from Shida's Wing Sword. It has 16 might and the following abilities. Effective against armored and cavalry foes. If unit speed is greater than foe speed, grant special cooldown charge +1 per unit's attack. Only highest value applied, does not stack. If unit shares an ally support with Shida, Talos' Heart, and both units are active, grants attack, speed, defense res +4 during combat to both units. To break that down a bit, Mirage Wing Spear has 3 effects. Armor and cavalry effectiveness, built-in flashing blade, and the same ally buff support that Itsuki's Mirage Falchion had. Just a quick note, the ally support buff is present in all the weapons on this banner, except one, so make sure you get used to hearing it. Tsubasa's support skill is Feel, which is a personal skill. It's named after Tsubasa's debut single as an idol in Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Its effect is as follows. Unit and target ally swap spaces. Grants another action to target. Additional action granted only once per turn. Cannot target an ally with sing or dance. This skill is treated as sing or dance. To put it in simpler terms, Tsubasa's Feel acts like swap and sing or dance skills combined. This allows for some interesting movement combos, however take note that Feel is treated as sing or dance, and as such will not trigger the buff given by the Link series of skills, or skills from weapons like Sabertooth Fang. Tsubasa's A slot is the brand new Sparrow Impact, which is the evolved skill from Swift Sparrow. Sparrow Impact is a 300 SP skill with the following effect. If unit initiates combat, grants attack +6, speed +10 during combat, and if unit's HP is above 50%, unit can make a follow-up attack before the foe can counterattack. Much like how Sturdy Impact is a very strong skill, I made Sparrow Impact strong for units who are already very fast. With +10 speed and a reverse desperation like Forseti and Shadow Sword, as well as a nice +6 attack on top of that, a lot of units will want this skill, and Tsubasa can use it pretty well herself. Tsubasa's B skill is Rock Slide Dance 2. This skill is already in Fire Emblem Heroes, and was chosen based on Tsubasa's affinity with wind in Tokyo Mirage Sessions, since Rock Slide Dance stems from both Gale Dance and Earth Dance, the former being on Tsubasa's kit at level 1. Tsubasa's C skill is Infantry Flash 3. This skill is already in Fire Emblem Heroes as well, and it allows her to provide further support outside of her songstress role, or just used for good fodder. With the 4 skill inheritance added to Faye, you can give a unit Sparrow Impact and Infantry Flash if they already have Swift Sparrow 2 in their skill select. Overall, Tsubasa is an excellent offensive dancer. With dual effectivity, special acceleration, and Sparrow Impact equipped, she'll be a force to be reckoned with, while Feel and Infantry Flash allow her to be used as a unique songstress among those in the game right now.
Third unit we're looking at here is Boyd Toma, looking like the crossover was between Xenoblade and Fire Emblem. He's got a blade cape that looks like it'll cut anyone who gets near it, including himself, and he went the Ephraim route of stabby stab poke sticks. While he looks like he can take off like a helicopter if he twirls his lance fast enough with those blades on the tip, he's pretty grounded as a unit. Looking at his stats, his BST of 159 looks pretty standard for a cavalry unit, but the last thing you'd expect is what you see when you scan his stat distribution. His HP of 41 isn't anything to write home about, but the combination of 35 attack and speed, as well as 32 defense, gives Toma a serious threat level of dragon. He's min-maxed to the max, with a pitiful 16 res to accommodate for such insane offensive stats, as well as commendable physical bulk. He's going in, and he's going in hard. In true Abel fashion, funny how we switched Kane's weapon now, the Mirage Bull Spear packs a wallop in the form of a 16 might brave weapon when melee cavalry allies are nearby, especially with his stat line. Oh boy, that guy's gonna have harder quads than an Olympic runner. Not to mention his bros before foes power with Kane that gives him 4 to each stat, and we're just scratching the surface. His A skill is Steady Blow, which is pretty good considering that coupled with Ignis, he could reach insane damage potential by being able to proc his special in a single round through a quad. And if that wasn't enough, look at this boy's odd defense wave. He don't need no man, nor woman, nor cav buffs to kick some serious Astra. Look at him! This man puts the Kane and can't touch this. Also, I put the candy can't make a distant joke. Overall, this is a wonderful adaptation of Toma from the original Mirage Sessions. Even if he seems like a plus speed Kane with min-maxed resistances, he's got a much more clear niche than the original Bull. He acted as an offensive frontliner as well as a physical damage stopper for entire turns, which is reflected in how well he stops physical attacks and his Fire Emblem Heroes counterpart. The fact that he has so much defense and offensive stats showcases that while it may be in his name, this guy isn't just a bunch of bull.
The fourth character on this list is Kiriya Kudono, who is arguably the most popular female in the entire Tokyo Mirage Sessions cast. She's sexy, she's confident, and she's got a hidden sweet side too. Kiriya is an established idol who acts as a mentor to Tsubasa, as they both work for the same agency. Kiriya's Mirage is the equally popular Fire, and her weapon of choice is a magic staff, making her the only pure mage in all of Tokyo Mirage Sessions, as all 7 party members can use some form of magic. In Fire Emblem Heroes, Kiriya takes the role of a green tome flyer, as well as the second of our 2 songstresses in the set of heroes. Her stat line is 36, 35, 35, 17, 17, giving her a BST of 140, the lowest BST of the entire banner. Her stat line is similar to that of her Mirage, Thaya, with good offenses and mediocre bulk, this being worsened by Kiriya's role as a flyer, a ranged unit, and a refresher. The choice to make Kiriya a flyer comes from her tendency to float in her attack animations, as well as Thaja's more floaty appearance in Tokyo Mirage Sessions, and as such, Kiriya is a mountless flyer akin to legendary female Robin and mythic Yoon. Kiriya's weapon is the Mirage Nosferatu. Despite being a dark tome, which usually appears as a red tome in Heroes, it's a green tome in this scenario, mostly because of Kiriya's green hair. Nosferatu has 14 might and the following effect. If special triggers during combat, restores HP equals 50% of damage dealt, stacks with skills like Daylight, Noontime, Soul, and Ether. If unit shares an ally support with Thaya, Dark Shadow, and both units are active, grants attack speed, defense res plus 4 during combat to both units. This unique tome allows Kiriya to stack her healing in both offensive and defensive ways. She can pair Mirage Nosferatu and Luna for a 3-turn Ether, or pair Mirage Nosferatu and Soul for a 100% damage to heal turnabout. She also has good synergy with Thaja, as her green tome covers Thaja's blue weakness. Much like Tsubasa, Kiriya has a unique support skill, Kiriya's being Reincarnation, named after the first song Kiriya sings in Tokyo Mirage Sessions. The effect is as follows. Moves adjacent ally to the opposite side of unit. Grants another action to target. Additional action granted once per turn only. Cannot target an ally with Sing or Dance. This skill is treated as Sing or Dance. Similar to how Tsubasa's Feel is Sing plus Swap, Kiriya's Reincarnation is Sing plus Reposition. This plays superbly into her flyer role, and she can reposition units over trees, mountains, water, lava, or pits, and then let them act again once they're either out of danger or plopped right into the fight. Remember that, much like Tsubasa's Feel, this skill does not trigger link skills or weapons with similar effects. Kiriya's A skill is Life or Death 3, a standard skill. This boosts her offenses to a promising 40-40 before adding Mirage Nosferatu, but drops her defense to an abysmal 12-12, meaning she'll not likely survive anything that's not a very weak blue attack. Kiriya's B skill is Fire Flood Dance Till. This was chosen as a parallel to Tsubasa's Rock Slide Dance, as well as reflect Kiriya's magical prowess with both fire and ice spells in Tokyo Mirage Sessions, even though Fire Flood Dance is clearly fire and water, not fire and ice. Overall, Kiriya is a solid support unit with a unique flair in battle thanks to her self-sustaining potential of her Mirage Nosferatu. Flying refreshers aren't as rare as they used to be nowadays, but Kiriya's Reincarnation allows her to bring something to the table that no other refresher has, giving her even more to stand out with.
Speaking of refreshers, did someone call for the gardener? Because holy poison ivy jacked up on fertilizer, this girl is a natural. Literally, she's a walking garden. This is Eleonora, and she has one hell of a fashion statement to make. While the Japanese high school swimsuit is kind of a weird choice for a costume, I raise you the leaf leggings, the awesome shoulder armor, and goodness me, those boots! Girl, you got style! And yes, I know she probably killed more trees making her outfit than she could ever save, but damn, that bow looks intriguing by design. Send help. No, seriously, look at these stats. 43 HP is okay, but 35 base attack and 38 speed? Girl, what the hell have you been eating? Being that fast with a bow that big takes some serious arm and back strength. Where are you hiding your triceps? But I guess it makes sense, seeing as how she was just as fast, if not faster, back in Mirage Sessions. Not to mention she's got a fantastic 30 defense for her offensive stat line, leaving her with a pitiable 15 res to make up for it. Honestly, leave the magic tanking to Tsubasa. So, as the blue bow infantry, you're probably wondering, why? She should be a green bow. Well, not exactly. I'd be lying if I said we want Lucina to win by default at anything, but honestly, her Thunder Elemental moves are just that damn good. About her bow itself. Well, Mirage Silver Bow is a 14 might short bow, meaning you get 10 extra damage tacked onto your special when you proc it. She also has Flashing Blade on her weapon, granting her special cooldown +1 if she's faster. So yeah, spring for the speed boon if you can. She also shares her +4 buff with Virion, who I don't know why you'd run him on the same team, but thematically it makes sense. She's got a great set for nuking people with specials, which would go great with the Dancer's special spiral set, but we'll talk more on that in a bit. Her special is Luna. Well, I don't have much to say here, but if you want, you can slap Ether on her or something, but for the sake of the kit, I'd say a 3-charge special like Luna is plenty good. Her ace skill is Swift Sparrow, meaning you don't need to kill your 5-star exclusives for her. Yeah, you're gonna put it on her anyway, so unless you plan to slap Darting Blow 4 on her, in which case, be my guest, more power to you. She looks more stylish than Legendary Elm anyway. Then we get to her B skill, Special Spiral. Remember how I said that she'd go great with a Special Spiral set? Well, here's a Special Spiral built in. Enjoy destroying your enemies. With a set like this, she's unbelievably strong. Unbelievably strong. Yeah. Anyway, overall, this stylish nymph from the woods of Holly packs quite a punch in her specials and is incredibly fast to boot. This is just a taste of how powerful special attacks were in Tokyo Mirage Sessions, and she showcases this very well. Making her a blue bow also balances her out, meaning she's branching a bit more into a niche, but even green units should fear her power. And her boots. And her rose arrows. Though I'm not too sure how they'd hurt someone unless they explode. Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Next up is Mamori Minamoto. Mamori joins the story relatively early to when she actually joins the party, but despite being the second to last party member, she's a fan favourite for being the only armoured unit in Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Mamori has her own children's cooking show, Microwaving with Mamorin, but she also sings, with her style of choice being the Japanese style of enka. Mamori's Mirage is Draug, who used to belong to the Fortuna talent coach Barry Goodman, and her weapon of choice is the axe, making her the only axe user in Tokyo Mirage Sessions. In Fire Emblem Heroes, Mamori would be an axe armored knight, which is a class that already has a lot of extremely good units in it, namely Hector's 1-3, Brave Ephraim, and Amelia. Her stat line is a solid 51, 31, 35, 33, 29, for a BST of 179. Mamori is the youngest member of the Tokyo Mirage Sessions party, being only 11 years old, so I decided to give her a trainee bonus. Mamori's got good bulk and speed, with her attack being a bit on the low side, however she has a few skills that circumvent this shortcoming. Speaking of skills, Mamori's weapon is the Mirage Bolt Axe. It has 16 might and the following effect. Unit can counterattack regardless of foe's range. Calculates damage using the lower of foe's defense or res. If unit shares an ally support with Draug, Gentle Giant, and both units are active, grants attack, speed, defense, res +4 during combat to both units. To break that down, Mirage Bolt Axe has distant counter built in, as well as a constant adaptive damage and the usual ally support buff with her Mirage character. The adaptive damage was chosen to simulate the magic attacks of weapons like the Bolt Axe or Levin Sword, and gives Mamori a boost when targeting foes who don't have even defenses. Mamori's support skill is Pivot, which is a great skill for armoured units to give them more movement. It's also a nod to one of Mamori's skills in Tokyo Mirage Sessions, where she'll teleport to an ally and use her amazing bulk to tank a hit and protect her friends. Mamori's B skill is Special Fighter, a common skill seen on faster armoured units who don't need Bold or Vengeful to double. This allows her to proc special faster, which is another big help to her low attack stat, as well as slow down the charge of foe specials. Mamoru's C slot is Gold Armor, a skill that, for some reason, is still only available on 2 units in the whole game, despite the numerous armor units being added, and gives Mamoru a support option for armors outside of Droll. That being said, Droll still appreciates the plus 10 attack and speed from this ally support, Mirage Bold Axe, and Gold Armor combo. Overall, Mamoru is just another armored axe knight, though her innate distant counter and adaptive damage give her a little boost over the ones we have so far. If you're a fan of Droll for some reason, Mamoru is also his most viable support option, and she also makes a really good fodder unit. It's a winning situation to have her no matter how you look at it.
Oh my freaking goodness, this lad right here, home slice, bread slice, dude, holy Metal Gear Rising monsoon skating gear. He looks like his designer asked him how many belts, and he replied, yes, goodness gravy, I mean just, wow. This leather mummy is Yashiro, literally the last character in the game to join you, and I can see why. He was too ashamed to show his face before because he was self-conscious about his outfit. This guy is ready to go into VR chat and talk about how he hates his mom for not driving him to Hot Topic. I mean, this Genji lookalike took fashion advice from Beautiful Joe and went absolutely ham on the belts. I mean, look at this. And that's why... Oh, jeez, I'm already 30 minutes into this segment. Okay, let's talk about his stats. As a sword infantry, 168 BST is pretty good, especially compared to vanilla Navarre and Faye. With a sizable 45 HP, 25 defense, and 26 res, he can take a decent beating all around, but nothing too serious. With a respectable 34 attack and a whopping 38 speed at base though, this guy is the speed demon you guys wanted in OG Navarre. Yashiro's weapon is Mirage Scarlet Sword, a 16 might Wodao mixed with a slaying edge, meaning not only do you get your cooldown reduced, you get a 10 damage boost to it too. Talk about having the best of both worlds. Also, he gets his Stando Power bonus from Navarre, so, getting 40 each stat in exchange for running a clearly inferior sword infantry on the same team. You get the picture. Yashiro's special is Astra, which, paired up with his weapon, will provide astronomical... Alright, I'm not doing this right now. Let's look at his A skill. Bonus doubler. Bonus doubler. Bonus doubler. Wait. Hold on. Holy crap. That's a double to all visible bonuses during combat. Yeah, bonus doubler is Navarre's A skill. Let's look at... Oh my god. His B skill is Wrath 4, meaning he gets a cooldown count -1 every turn, and an additional Wrath effect on top of it. Are you serious right now? Meaning if he gets +6 to all stats and procs Astra, that's... Okay, +20. 113 damage. 113 damage? I'm sorry for ripping on your style, Mr. Yashiro. Sir, please don't erase me from existence. Okay. Yashiro's C skill is even attack wave 3. Good call, he's self-sufficient too. Okay, so this was a bit of a surprise. Yashiro is known for having a fantastic counter because of his crit rate, so I suppose it makes sense that for the first time in FEH, crits are brought to their true power. I'm flabbergasted. I think I need to lie down. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I can already see the legendary Azura and Cadence strats from here. Oh! Ooh!
The final character to come from Tokyo Mirage Sessions is one I'm sure everyone is very familiar with, Tiki. Tiki isn't a party member, but instead plays a supporting role in the game, being able to use her power to give the party members new skills and weapons, as well as promote Mirages into new, more powerful classes. While the other characters get their power from their roles as actors and singers, Tiki gets her power from the Vocaloid-esque software made from her voice, letting users all around the world create songs using her voice. She's basically the Hatsune Miku of the Tokyo Mirage Sessions world. In Fire Emblem Heroes, this form of Tiki would be a colourless Manakete flyer. As of the making of this video, there are 3 Manakete flyers, one of them being a Tiki alt, so she doesn't have much competition in that regard. Her stat line is 42, 32, 32, 31, 31 for a BST of 168. She has no real flaws or weaknesses in her stat line. Everything is very balanced, and she can be molded to suit a specific playstyle with skills and IVs. Her worst stat is probably her speed, since 32 is a bit on the low side, but she has solid bulk and good attack. Tiki's weapon in this form is the Mirage Breath. Unlike the other characters on this list, Tiki does not have a Mirage Master by her side. However, she is still considered a Mirage along with the other Fire Emblem characters, hence the name of her weapon. Mirage Breath has 16 might and the following effect. Effective against dragon foes. Unit can counterattack regardless of foe's range. If foe's range equals 2, calculates damage using the lower of foe's defense or res. This is a standard effect for Tiki, since her Divine Mist and Raising Breath also share this description. Tikis Special is a skill that only she can have, Wishgranter.exe. Named after one of the skills Tiki can learn in Tokyo Mirage Sessions, this 500 SP special has 3 cooldowns and the following effect. Resolves combat as if foe suffered defense res minus 50%. Unit and all allies recover 15 HP. What this essentially means is that Tiki has Luna, but then she heals 15 HP on herself and all allies after the combat ends. This all ally heal stems from her supporting role in Tokyo Mirage Sessions, and makes her a good team player on Dragon Emblem or Fire Emblem teams. Tiki's A slot is Defense Res Bond 3, a skill that, to this day, is still only available on the very limited Winter Fae. This skill allows Tiki to reach 36 defenses when adjacent to an ally, which can be stacked with goads and wards for even more buffs. Tiki's B slot is Mystic Boost 3. Currently only available on Air, Mystic Boost further increases Tiki's bulk by allowing her to heal 6 HP after every combat. It also negates adaptive damage and wrathful staff from foes, with the former not really being a problem due to Tiki's already even defenses. Tiki's C slot is idlesafety.exe, another skill named after a skill she has in Tokyo Mirage Sessions. This is a skill exclusive to this Tiki. It costs 300 SP and has the following effect. Neutralizes effective against unit bonuses. A short and simple explanation, but it does wonders for Tiki. Being both a dragon and a flyer, Tiki has a multitude of weapons that can hit her really hard, but with this skill, you don't need to worry about any of them. Overall, Tiki has a niche role as a supportive dragon unit, something we haven't really seen since Ninian, but she's still ready for combat with her effective weapon, adapted damage, unique special, and amazing heal potential. Out of all the units on this banner, Tiki was my favorite one to design. Well, that's it for this video. What do you think of all these units? Let me know down below and... Wait, is that Alphonse?
A strong foe has appeared.
That's right, ladies and gents, Itsuki's final form from Tokyo Mirage Sessions has him go into battle against Melledoneus, with the soul of the legendary hero King Marth infused into him. There aren't any official art pieces of this form, so we'll be using the same art from earlier. In this form, Itsuki appears on a legendary hero banner, being the fire hero for the speed stat. This means he grants HP plus 3 and speed plus 3 to any ally with a fire blessing during fire seasons, and you're going to want to make use of those fire blessings. As a legendary hero, Itsuki is yet again a sword infantry unit. It didn't make sense to change his class when he only has one in Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Though sword infantry is admittedly a very overpopulated class when it comes to specifically fire legendary heroes. His stat line this time is 40, 40, 34, 30, 25, giving him a whopping 169 BST. This version of Itsuki really has no shortcomings. His attack is extremely high for an infantry unit, the second highest in the game behind Keaton, and his speed is nothing to sneeze at either. His bulk is a solid 30-25 with 40 HP, meaning he isn't a glass cannon and can safely enter combat against many different foes. Legendary Itsuki's weapon is the Mirage Exalted Falchion, stylized here as Mirage E Falchion, to fit the character limit. It has 16 might and the following effect. Effective against dragon foes. Grants bonus to attack, speed, defense, res during combat equal to current bonus on each of unit's stats. Calculates its stat bonus dependently. If unit shares an ally support with Marth, Hero King, and both units are active, grants attack, speed, defense, res plus 4 during combat to both units. To break it down, the Mirage Exalted Falchion has 3 effects: Dragon Effectiveness, built-in bonus doubler, and the same ally support buff that every other unit on this banner had aside from Tiki. Legendary Itsuki shares his bond with Legendary Marth, and when the two are together, Fire Blessed heroes gain plus 6 HP, plus 3 speed, and plus 4 res during fire seasons, as well as both Legendary Marth and Legendary Itsuki gaining plus 4 in all stats during combat. This is truly a combo to fear. Legendary Tikis Special is the exclusive Fortuna emblem. Modeled after Legendary Marth's Fire Emblem, this 500 SP skill has 2 cooldown and the following effect. Boosts damage dealt by 20% of unit's attack. Grants attack, speed, defense, res plus 4 to unit and all allies for 1 turn after combat. Bonus granted to allies even if unit's HP reaches 0. If you know how Fire Emblem works, Fortuna Emblem is pretty much the same thing, except that it deals damage based on attack rather than speed. With a neutral Legendary Itsuki before any buffs, Fortuna Emblem deals 11 extra damage, but this escalates very quickly once buffs come into play. It also gives everyone on the team plus 4 visible buff in all stats, which on Legendary Itsuki is really plus 8, thanks to Mirage Exalted Falchion. Legendary Itsuki's A slot is Heavy Blade 4. Similar to the recently released Flashing Blade 4, Heavy Blade 4 is a 300 SP skill with the following effect. If unit's attack is greater than foe's attack, grants special cooldown charge plus 1 and deals plus 5 damage per unit's attack. Only highest value applied, does not stack. This skill works wonders with Legendary Itsuki's incredible attack stat, and the plus 5 damage is a nice bonus. Legendary Itsuki's B slot is Renewal 3, a basic skill that will most likely be replaced by something else. This skill heals Itsuki for 10 HP every odd numbered turn. Legendary Itsuki's C slot is Infantry Rush 3. Much like how Legendary Marth carried Infantry Flash, Legendary Itsuki helps out his infantry allies by giving them a heavy blade when nearby. Comboed with Legendary Marth, allies have access to 2 types of special acceleration, which is always nice to have. Overall, Legendary Itsuki is basically a clone of Legendary Marth, though the idea is to use them in tandem, rather than in competition, for maximizing both of their abilities. By himself, Legendary Itsuki is still a stellar fighter with a great stat line and good support options, but that Heavy Blade 4 is very tempting to fodder off too. Well, it looks like we've really reached the end of the video. What do you guys think of these units? Let me know in the comments down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe so you can catch more of my content. A huge thank you to Melledoneus for joining me today. Melledoneus, where can they find you on the internet?
On the internet as a whole, I mean, if you Google my username, you'll find a tapestry of my history on the internet. Except that one Roblox account. I'm gonna find out who stole my username and made a Roblox account with it. But you could check out my YouTube channel, it'll entertain you for like 5 minutes, I guess. I'm also on Discord. Sorry, that's not a question I'm asked often. I'm gonna have to pass this off to you now.
If you recognize Melledoneus' name, you might actually recognize him from 2 places in particular. He's one of the mods in Sagemaster 15's Discord server, and he also featured in Gas Station's My Favorite Fire Emblem character video. One more thing before I end the video. I've almost reached 100 subscribers, which doesn't seem like that big a deal, but it was my first goal when I started making videos and I wanted to celebrate it. So, when I do hit 100 subs, I'll be making a special Q&A video to let you guys get to know me better. You can leave your questions anywhere, in the comments on this video or any other video, tweet it at me or on my Instagram, and I'll answer all of your questions, as long as they aren't inappropriate. So ask away. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys!
I'm glad to have you here.